wish this conference every success. Life on Earth does depend upon it.
In one day, the whole coastline of Bali, Bali's biggest beach cleanup. We were kind of like, okay. And we started nodding, and we were like, yeah, why don't we do that? So in 2017, in a very short time period, together with 20 other like-minded organizations, we managed to mobilize over 12,000 people in 55 different locations along the coastline. And in just one day, we collected 40 tons of trash. So this year, because of the public demand of emails and phone calls saying, hey, are we going to do it again? Team, just tell us where we're going to be. We'll be there. So we decided we'd do it again this year. And again, in a very short time period, we managed to mobilize 20,000 people in 120 locations all throughout the island, not just the beaches. And in one day, we collected 65 tons of waste. So I'm a big believer in people power, and I think this event really shows it. We were raising our voices. We called this cleanup One Island, One Voice because of the power of the title. We really came together as one island, but we saw an 80% increase. These are some photos. We saw an 80% increase in people joining. Whereas last year, we saw a lot of international help. This year, we had 85% locals and 15% international. So, when we hear, and unfortunately we still hear it a lot, that the local people do not know, the local people are not ready, or local people just don't care. That is not true.
Hey guys, so I am standing in San Diego. San Diego is behind me, and if I pivot, there's the ocean, and then that's Tijuana, which is pretty crazy. So we just took a tour of the Tijuana river estuary, and so they have a boon set up in a watershed, so when they do have large rains that come in, it prevents the land-based litter from becoming marine debris and being swept into the ocean, which is really, really interesting. And the staff here are doing wonderful work. They were talking about all the efforts that they were doing, really working with Mexico to try to prevent this, try to prevent the debris from becoming marine debris. Just really, really interesting, and I'll post photos of the boon and all the debris that it had collected so far too. So, aloha.
Develop sustainable products and packaging. That's what we aim to do. We hope that you will reward us with your purchase and know that we're putting our money to good use.
Part of the conversation, and I think it's really important to join it as a conversation though. Come to the table and know that everyone's going to walk away like a little upset, and not everyone's going to get exactly what they want, but that's the start of the conversation. And I think like identifying ways where corporations can save money and where they can absolutely just make a change that is possible to make that completely eliminates this problem that they might not have cared about or been aware of yet. And I can't help but wonder, I don't know if you guys read the article with the fibers in bottled water that came out yesterday, but can't help but wonder if microfibers might get bottled water off the shelves. So that could be an interesting thing.
Conrad. I just want to emphasize that I think the roles of CEOs are incredibly important symbolically and substantially in this issue. And I know traditionally, it's a solid waste issue. We're not going to get the CEO up there. But when you think about the CEOs in the past 30 years that have really put sustainability out there on their sleeve, there's Ray Anderson, who's like a legend among a lot of folks in the sustainability world, who back in the 90s said, I want my carpet company Interface to not have any impact on the world in 20 years. And they haven't gotten there, but they're still trying, they're still working on it. But that was unique. This Paul Pullman at Unilever, who's probably out there more than other CEOs, but I probably couldn't name 5 though. They're just not there. So I would encourage the CEOs of America to step up on this issue, because I think it's really important. And it's important to, especially if you are in a sensitive area where you're trying to keep certain millennial markets happy, you want to be perceived as a leader on sustainability issues. And I think that's where this plastic pollution issue and ocean plastics has really captured the concerns of a whole generation, and they're looking for leadership. And Yvonne, I don't want to, he's certainly been out there on a lot of issues, but I think we need more of them to step up and really show us how it's a priority.
Oh, yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Will help address some of the information gaps. So that was one area where we've been inspired for future action. Another is in partnerships and in bringing public and private sector and NGO groups together. We're really inspired by the work Doug Woodring is doing and that Danielle Russo is doing to sort of bridge the space between materials innovation, existing sort of traditional materials, and sort of the inspirational aspects. And you think of plastic makers as being married to the former, right, to the status quo. There's tremendous energy around how we can contribute to innovation as well, including through funding of Closed Loop Oceans, of the Trash Free Seas Alliance, and some of the folks out in the front lines doing the work. I don't think there's a silver bullet. I don't think Vaughn would agree either. There's probably room for all of these places, and the key is going to be sequencing them right so that we get to the most worst first.
Throughout this conference, we've heard some of the measures that are needed really at the leadership at the government level. You've heard policies like plastic bags reduction, elimination, extended producer responsibility, clean production. We need this, and we need strong regulations. We need tough enforcement in order to protect the public and environmental health. But at the same time, we want industry to be accountable. We want industry to be owning up to this problem that they created, that they've spawned, and not tell consumers and citizens that you need more education, or that to developing countries that you need better infrastructure and waste management. We need you to take leadership in preventing this problem from further escalating by eliminating problematic applications of plastics to begin with. And this is why when we see projections of exponential growth by industry, despite what the science already tells us about climate change, given the fact that most plastics, 99%, is based on fossil fuels, and we are seeing more investments in this regard. This is madness, and this has got to be reversed.
The principles of inclusivity or environmental justice is that we have to make room for those people who are disproportionately impacted, but also who are probably not doing the most to contribute to the problem. And so the thing I would have to say, look around in this room. This room does not look like the tapestry of America or of the world. But with that being said, let's work harder to make that a reality. Let's work harder to say when we have the next International Marine Debris meeting, it really is inclusive, not only just in terms of the science, but also the people. Thank you.
There are projections for growth in population, projections for growth in income. The income thing is great news, but with that, we're going to need lighter cars to drive those people around, better transportation modes. We're going to need more clean water delivered efficiently with less disposable plastic and with more certainty in infrastructure. We're going to need food that doesn't get wasted between the farm and the table, creating methane and CO2 emissions. So we really have to think about the materials and the efficient way of feeding, housing, and moving around a rapidly expanding population. We think plastic has a role for that, but I'm here to tell you today that the plastic industry understands that we have a responsibility and that we're committed to delivering in partnership, in good faith, with helping to meet the demands of a growing future. That's going to be in innovation in materials. It's going to be an innovation in the recovery of those materials, including new technologies that will bring polymers back to monomers so we can get actually into closed loop systems that the plastic becomes the monomer, becomes the plastic. So I'm overwhelmed by the amount of ideas and input. I'm going to be taking them back to our members and to the industry globally, and we look forward to working with you and finding ways to solve these really vexing problems. Thank you.
We decided to build this board because cigarettes are the most littered item in the world. You see them all over our beaches. And we decided what better thing to make an environmental statement about the health of our beaches and oceans.
Yeah, we originally did it for an international competition through the company Vissla to make an article, Surf Craft Out of Trash. So we went on to take first place, and it definitely made a pretty poignant statement about the marine pollution in our oceans. And so now we're going on to make an environmental surf documentary focused on kind of questioning this mentality of littering, but largely looking at the solutions that we have in play and how surf culture can help play a role in that.
To the store, there's no need to be such a fancy pants. Put down the plastic water bottle, give the kids a chance, cause the next generation is growing. We gotta be knowing, if we're consuming, we gotta be doing what we can do to reduce our waste. to go to the water for a reason. It's only the ocean and you. After all